Hi, this is Calpey and I'm going to be reviewing Wienne. This is the first game for developer Creeplin and it was released on the 6th of January. It's available to buy now on Steam for $3.99 in the UK or $4.99 in the US, and you can find a link to the game in the description below. This is a pixel style RPG game with a narrative that sees the same characters relive the same events over and over again, with only you as the main character Wienne in a position to change the outcome. I know what you're thinking. A time loop framing device for storytelling. I've seen that somewhere before. Ah, Groundhog Day. Oh, and Edge of Tomorrow. Oh, and that Happy Death Day. And then there was that one episode of X-Files. And the one episode of Buffy. And Supernatural. Every episode of Russian Doll. And then there was Charmed, Vampire Diaries, Star Trek Next Generation, Star Trek Discovery, Stargate, Farscape, Eureka. Anyway, we get the point. That's right, I spend far too much time watching TV. And yes, I have seen everything on that list at least once. But joking aside, this form of narrative is not new, no. But that's not a bad thing, and it's not a criticism. As I mentioned earlier, it's just a framing device for the storytelling. And when you see a beautiful piece of art on the wall, you don't come away going, oh, that was a beautiful piece of framework there, oh yeah. No, you look at the content of the frame. That's what's important. So let's move on to the content. You awake on a mountain adjacent to a cave and next to a note warning of a deadly witch seen around the mountain top. You explore and come across a young man named Zach who confuses you for the witch. When he realises his error, he offers to take you back to his village where it's safe. You accept, and Zach returns to the mountain but is never heard from again. That is where your story ends. This is the path you have chosen. You have a choice. It is or it isn't. If you select it is, you go back to the title screen. Your story ends. If you select it isn't, well, you awake on a familiar mountain, adjacent a familiar cave, and next to a familiar note, warning of a deadly witch, seen around the mountaintop. You explore and come across a young man named Zach, who confuses you for a witch. When he realises his mistake, he offers to take you back to his village where it's safe, but you refuse. You know how that story ends, and instead, you accompany him. How will this story end? Better or worse? As you explore through the various paths, you'll find nodes and scripts detailing the wider view of the world in which the story is set. The lore can feel a little condensed and has some holes, but this doesn't really detract away from the painting of an immersive picture of history. There is some content outside the game on Reddit and Twitter about the main character. Although not essential to playing or understanding the game, I do recommend it as it pads the main character out quite nicely. I've put links in the description below. I found this game to be cleverly deceptive in its simplicity, and by that I mean when I started I thought it was very linear. The first pass was just obvious. You go through, you talk, you reset. Second path has an extra line of dialogue. You use that line of dialogue, you reset. Third time around, another new line. You use that, reset. It was obvious. But after I explored the obvious, I found new ways of dealing with the situations I faced in each iteration. This led to new alternatives, and these were available right from the beginning. I just didn't see them because of the obvious. Mainly because of this, the game seems a lot larger than it actually is. It only actually covers about 9 different scenes, and a very small cast, but it tells a story larger than the sum of its parts. The game is roughly about 2 to 3 hours long, which is why there's no gameplay footage in this video. I didn't want to put anything in there that would give too many hints or ruin the experience for anyone else. The musical accompaniment in this game is fantastic. I thought it suited the game wonderfully. It's been playing in the background of this video, or at least a portion of it has throughout. It's very simple, it's very zen, it's very peaceful, and it mirrors how you feel when you're playing the game, not so much in the outcome of the game, because you're trying to avoid something bad happening, but in the sense that you get to retry over and over again. It gives you almost a sense that there's no rush. You can take your time, you can look around, you can admire things, you can explore, you can read, you can do everything within the game, because it gives you an infinite amount of tries to do it. And I think the music mirrors this beautifully. So overall, would I recommend this game? I would. I really would. Its price tag at £4 UK, $5 US may seem a little steep for a game that's only 2 to 3 hours long, but I feel rewarded by playing this game. It's clearly something that someone spent a lot of time over, a lot of effort over, and they've put passion into this game. You can see it in the content, in the lore of the game, in the story, in the wording, in the dialogue. All these things has had time taken over it. It's had quality instilled in it, and although the game isn't without its faults, as I alluded to earlier, it is the lore seems a little bit condensed, and you know, it doesn't flesh out enough, in my opinion. But that just is a testament to how good the lore is, because you want more of it. You just want to know more of the world, and more of the nation, and more of the people, and more of the history, and that in my mind is why I recommend this game, because when you finish playing it, you want to play more of it. You wish it was a longer game, you wish it was a longer experience, and not because you feel cheated in any way, but because it was such a good experience. So I hope you found this video useful, and even if you haven't, I'd appreciate if you give it a thumbs up, or at least nothing at all. Ignore the thumbs down, doesn't exist, not there. But seriously, all the links are in the description below for this game, for the prequel story from Reddit or Twitter, and also my links to my Twitch, where I stream most days, and to Twitter, where you can get information on the latest videos and streaming schedules. Thank you very much.